I am gaming. I am gaming. I am gaming podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Ivica. Thank you so much for being on the latest episode of I Am Gaming Podcast. This is a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, gaming nostalgia, artificial intelligence, and many more cool things I find to be in the same realm of business and creative ventures. Like always, first and foremost, of course, a huge, enormous, exceedingly big thanks goes to my Patreon supporters who really make this podcast possible. Without you, I wouldn't be able to continue making episodes, and you have my huge amount of gratitude because thanks for being here month in and month out. This episode is episode 176 and it's called Are You About to Get AI Anxiety? So we're all really aware of the AI revolution that is taking place. ChatGPT is probably the most familiar name that you probably heard or chances are might be even using right now, but there are also a lot of other solutions, all of which produce that same effect of people understanding what machine learning and AI now is much better and seeing it in practice, but at the same time having zero clues how it actually works and what are the implications in the short and medium term, not in the long term when anything and everything is possible, but what are the impacts on your life that are reasonably to be expected in the coming weeks, months, and a few years. Now, why did I start this hashtag on Twitter actually? That's called Get AI Anxiety. Well, because I'm noticing that more and more people are becoming pretty unnerved and clinically anxious related to issues about machine learning. That is why I decided to officially launch the Get AI Anxiety hashtag, so that we can track the macabre process of people losing their minds in the present while they pointlessly worry about the future of AI. The same future of the entire world where you have a minuscule amount of influence and the ability to impact or change anything. We are simply worrying what will happen in the future, and that is from a psychological perspective always a problematic thing because you can't actually create or control future. You can respond to it, have plans, and live in the present moment. When you're anxious and you're constantly thinking about the future, you're not actually in the present moment, and issues and problems arise in that time period, not in the future for you personally. So it goes like this: fear. All fear in the public domain means that someone is getting a benefit from it. If there is fear, someone is getting paid if that fear is on the airwaves. It might be experts and pundits who are jockeying for airtime or media companies that want to get your scared and anxious clicks. But if you fear actively by seeking out information, like a lot of people do, and get zero new information, they're just kind of in their own loop, someone gets paid at the end of the line. That creates a wonderful capitalistic loop of fear and money, where your fear becomes money down the line for someone else. Yes, the world is full of dangers and potentially dangerous things, including AI and machine learning, but that also includes wars, viruses, terrorists, asteroids, and a bunch of other stuff that is all just as potentially dangerous as AI and machine learning, and a lot of stuff we even don't know about and isn't in the public domain, and of course big stuff, huge stuff, which are already presently creating so much problems and causing death and destruction, like global climate change. But if you accumulate enough potential dangers in your emotional landscape and in your mind, they don't even have to come to fruition for you to get very real and very damaging anxiety disorder. AI might not be crushing skulls on the battlefield in 2095 like in the movie Terminator, but you could be very well be crushing Xanax pills and other anti-anxiety medication, anxiolytic medication, which is kind of the last step when people simply can't deal with the process of fearing and worrying in their everyday, day-to-day life. So by all means, yes, try to influence the future. Vote, sign petitions, organize, do whatever you think helps the world and yourself, including in domains like machine learning. But when you're done with that, when you did your thing, whatever your thing might be, you can spend 3 hours a day on it, stop, and continue with your normal life. Don't lull yourself to sleep with article 4051 on how AI will replace you and get your dad as a robot and get your friends fired from their jobs. That will only drain you and influence you negatively in your everyday experience of life and your ability to interact, have fun, connect with others meaningfully, and do all of these things that actually make life worth living, apart from worrying about things. So please, for the sake of your loved ones and yourself, recognize fear peddlers and your nature to morbidly fascinate yourself with dangers. We all have that, and fear peddlers have been around since ancient times because that's what makes their living. That's what puts bread on the table for their families. Both are real and both are going nowhere. Neither is your fears and fascination with dangerous things, nor the fear peddlers, but both can also be seen and recognized and thus avoided for something a bit more emotionally meaningful, like everyday normal activities where you connect with the world around you and people around you and with yourself in the present moment, instead of worrying, will the machine learning leave 300 million, 1,000 trillion people without job in 2024? It's normal for peddlers of fear, for pundits, for experts to seek out that space for themselves. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be allowed to do that, but you should recognize them. You should recognize your need to be immersed in that process, even though it's not quote unquote healthy, but through that recognition and acceptance you can avoid it and not get yourself insanely anxious because you worry what will happen in the future. And that boils down all machine learning and AI fears to the issue of what will happen in the coming years. We don't know. We'll get through it. We should work on it. But if you're worried all the time about this, you won't influence it at all, the outcome. Only you ruin yourself emotionally, and that will damage not your own experience, but experiences of those around you who love you. So there you have it. That's the hashtag Get AI Anxiety. Please, if you think it's important, relative, or relevant, consider using it on your social media. Let's help people get influenced in reading more about this and understanding that anxiety is an issue that is serious and that can be avoided or overcome in equal measure. That's all from me. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for listening and watching. If you're new to my podcast, please consider subscribing. I have a lot of stuff on my YouTube channel, mainly to do about gaming, technology, and stuff like that. But if you want to support me even more, I sell books on Amazon, including a book about overcoming fears, mass fears, and I can also accept donations through PayPal and crypto, and you can become a Patreon supporter, like my Patreon supporters, who are all amazing, and you can see their ventures in the description below and on the screen right now. But most importantly, if you're new, if you want to help me out, leave a like and leave a subscribe. That's free for you and means a lot to me. That's all for this episode. Thanks so much for listening, being here. My name is Ivica. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you in precisely 7 days from now. Until then, bye bye.